Robin Murdoch live outside the Motor City Casino here in Detroit, where workers are not bluffing. They are ready to walk the picket line if contract negotiations fail today. What they are fighting for in my live reports.
The UAW leaders have called us the enemy in these negotiations, but I will never consider our employees as enemies.
As the UAW strike enters a new week, this morning we're hearing from the Blue Oval's executive chairman, Bill Ford Jr. More of his message about the strike and the future of the auto industry coming up.
Israel's war against Hamas is escalating. I'm Mather Rivera in Jerusalem with the latest on the conflict and the efforts to evacuate Americans stuck overseas coming up.
Working for you. Fox 2 News Live at 11 starts now.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on this Monday. I'm Josh Landon.
And I'm Ryan Romani. Let's get right to our top story. Time is nearly up for Detroit's 3 casinos to reach a deal with workers and avoid a strike.
If talks fail, thousands of union members could hit the picket lines tonight. Fox 2's Robin Murdoch is live with much more on the story. Robin, good morning to you.
Good morning, Josh and Ryan. Yeah, the clock is ticking on that deadline. If a deal is not reached by 11:59 tonight, those casino workers say that they are ready to walk. I can tell you that contract negotiations with all sides began right around 10 o'clock this morning, so they are now about an hour in hopes of making some serious headway.
A lot of us has been working, and our paychecks is not reflecting the increase in cost of living.
This man among the 3,700 casino workers here in Detroit who are not bluffing. They are prepared to strike at the stroke of midnight should contract negotiations continue on a losing streak. They've spent the last several days putting picket signs together and are ready to use them.
We're calling on these companies to stop gambling with our livelihoods.
The president of Local 24 during a press conference last week laid out their cards, what union members at the MGM Grand Detroit, the Motor City Casino, and the Hollywood at Greektown Casino are fighting for. They want better pay, improved health care and retirement benefits, and job security when it comes to new technology.
Our people are doing the jobs of 2 and 3 people. And the casinos aren't doing enough to fill the positions that they still have open because the wages are not competitive.
According to numbers released by the Detroit Casino Council, which represents workers from 5 different unions, since the pandemic combined, the casinos here have brought in some $2.2 billion in record revenue, while the wages paid to workers in 2022 were some $34 million less than just 3 years prior.
When I talk about my kids and my family, I do get emotional. It's an emotional situation. But with the support of the DCC and my coworkers, I can fight and keep going.
This mother of 2 with another baby on the way and her casino counterparts are betting on better days. The union says their membership shouldered heavier workloads and sacrificed raises to help the gaming industry survive following COVID shutdowns. Now they want to be comped or they'll walk away.
That's all we're asking for, is the respect that we should be getting from these corporations.
Now, 99% of union membership did vote to authorize a strike back in late September. I did reach out to all 3 casinos today in hopes of getting some sort of an updated statement. I'm still waiting to hear back. Previously, though, they essentially said that they were working on a contract that benefits everyone. Of course, we'll keep you posted on how the talks go today, both on air as well as online. For now, we are live outside the Motor City Casino here in Detroit. I'm Robin Murdoch for Fox 2 News.
Robin, at this point, it appears we're talking about one strike after another. It feels like we can only be concerned about the ripple effect this will potentially have on the local economy.
Yeah, you know, whenever somebody does go on strike, Josh, it always does have a ripple effect. Obviously, striking workers, they are watching their pennies, so they are going out less, they're spending less, and that, of course, will have a huge effect on the economy. As you know, we're already dealing with striking workers with the UAW, so this is hitting our area pretty hard. I can tell you this would also be the very first time that Detroit casino workers have gone on strike, so it will be interesting to see how this does play out today. Back to you.
History in the making. We can only stay tuned. Robin Murdoch reporting live. Thank you.
And guys, you talk about that ripple effect. Now to the latest on the UAW strike entering its 5th week. The Ford Motor Company telling another 550 employees not to show up to work today. And that includes 100 workers at Dearborn Stamping and dozens at Dearborn Diversified, Rawsonville Components, and Sterling Axle facilities. Also new this morning, Ford Executive Chairman Bill Ford Jr. holding a news briefing a short time ago where he talked about the strike's impact on the economy and called for unity.
The supply base is very fragile and will start collapsing with an expanded strike. But it doesn't have to go that way. We can stop this now. We need to come together to bring an end to this acrimonious round of talks. I still believe in a bright future, one that we can build together. I still believe the automobile industry is a major force for good in our country. And we will continue to be there when America needs us most. Ford has strong leaders.
Roughly 1/3 of Ford's production has been impacted by the strike. Meanwhile, the UAW strike stretches into another week without a deal. The same cannot be said for workers across the border. General Motors union workers in Canada ratifying a new contract. The union is named Unifor, more than 80% voting in favor of the new contract, and that includes 19% raises for production workers and 25% raises for skilled trades over the 3 years of the deal. This affects about 4,300 workers. Unifor and Ford reached a deal several weeks ago.
Now to Israel's war against Hamas. More than a week after the terror group launched a surprise attack, Israel is launching repeated rocket attacks against Gaza.
Fox's Madeline Rivera is in Jerusalem with the latest on the fighting and the ongoing efforts to bring stranded Americans home.
The Israeli military continues striking Hamas targets in the Gaza Strip as the United Nations warns of a brewing humanitarian crisis. Israeli airstrikes leveling neighborhoods in the Gaza Strip. Retaliation against the deadly surprise attacks from Hamas terrorists last weekend.
It will be a mighty war. It will be a deadly war.
The escalating conflict has forced more than 1 million people from their homes in Gaza. Food and water are running out as hospitals on the verge of shutting down are overwhelmed with hundreds of injured people.
Not one drop of water, not one grain of wheat, not a liter of fuel that has been allowed in the Gaza Strip.
But as Israeli soldiers and tanks stand ready at the border for an expected ground invasion,
they are ready to snap into action at any moment.
The U.S. Secretary of State says they must do all they can to spare innocent civilian lives.
The way that Israel does this matters.
In an interview with 60 Minutes, President Biden said Sunday he believes Hamas must be eliminated, but doesn't believe Israel should reoccupy Gaza.
There needs to be a path to a Palestinian state.
Meanwhile, the State Department says more than 20,000 Americans stranded in Israel and Gaza say they need help returning home. A flight carrying hundreds of Americans stuck in Israel landed Sunday night in Florida. A senior Biden administration official says the president is now considering going to Israel in the coming days. In Jerusalem, Madeline Rivera, Fox 2 News.
Meanwhile, the war in Israel and Gaza is being connected to a horrific murder in suburban Chicago. A suspect is accused of stabbing and killing a 60-year-old boy and wounding the boy's mother because of their Islamic faith. The 71-year-old suspect was the family's landlord. Investigators say he stabbed the child more than 24 times. The child's mother was also seriously wounded. The man is facing first-degree murder and hate crime charges.
A woman in Madison Heights held a prayer vigil last night for the people killed because of the conflict in the Middle East. It caught the attention of the mayor and others looking to join the cause. Fox 2's Camille Amiri with more.
They gathered on a cold and windy night in Madison Heights, a prayer vigil for Israel on Sunday.
It was just on my heart to do. I didn't see anything happening, and then I said, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and if nobody shows, it'll be me and my friends, and that'll be enough.
Penny, who isn't Jewish, purchased an Israeli flag and an Israeli banner. She did research about the Jewish culture.
You always look for the light in the darkness, and Penny is the light in the darkness. She organized this. This was her idea. Her heart is in the place where it needs to be. She wants to do good, and she wants to show the support, and I'm very thankful for her for doing that.
Madison Heights, it's not the most, the biggest Jewish community. It's not West Bloomfield, but it's great. There are people here, and especially non-Jewish allies, and that's what we all need.
Photographs of some of the Americans killed in Israel adorn the gazebo. Penny felt it was important for people to see them, to see who they were.
Sometimes, the most impactful vigils are not the ones with 1,000 people. They're the ones with 10 people that are just really beautiful, and this is one of them.
In Madison Heights, Camille Amiri, Fox 2 News.